Hi, my name's Jesse Chard Perez, aka the Vidiot, and I'm also the founder of Infinite Dreams, which is a futurist culture organisation based in Sydney, Australia. So we had our first inaugural events called Explorations of the Hysterical Body, Infinite Dreams 001, at Highway Enmore, and it was a phenomenal success. The whole place was packed out, and we really it really gave me a shot in the arm in terms of the hunger that Sydney has for left of centre culture, for fringe culture, for culture that is essentially dictated by passionate artists and by creators that live and breathe their craft. And for things that might not quite fit into a sort of normal schedule or a normal sort of paradigm, or a paradigm that is sort of enacted by other types of curatorial organisations. There's a big gaping hole in Sydney right now for fringe culture, for fringe arts. Not even the word fringe, but for grassroots culture, for culture that might not get a run in with traditional channels. So what I wanted to do with this video, it will be a kind of meandering kind of, g'day mate, kind of long, involved dissertation of what we want to achieve with this. And I'm doing it for historical reasons in a way. I'm doing it because it's easy to put it all into one piece and to encapsulate it that way. So look, a brief history. In late 2019, I had some, let's just say, very interesting experiences with my mind. And I came up with the concept of a thing which was an entity, which was a sort of futurist-focused entity. And I didn't know what it quite was just yet. I sort of was developing this idea of like something that championed artists, that championed creatives, and was something that gave the community an opportunity to showcase art that was sort of stripped from commerciality. So I was sort of preparing, I came up with this name, Infinite Dreams. The name Infinite Dreams comes from the 1988 song from Iron Maiden off their Seventh Son of a Seventh Son album called Infinite Dreams. Go and watch that video, or go and have a listen to that song and see what the lyrics are about. But I wanted to create something that was like an infinite palette of a variety of different types of presentations of culture and art, not fixed to a genre. So the idea behind it is because my formative sort of creative years were in the early 2000s in Sydney, and at that time there was phenomenal amount of venues that you could go to. There was probably 250 nightclubs that were running in Sydney at that time during that space over the late 90s and early 2000s, where you were literally spoiled for choice. There was a magazine called 3D World that was out, and it was just overwhelming, the possibilities that we used to have. And this is a much deeper and wider piece, and I think like in time's Infinite Dreams we'll sort of discuss this and do a documentary about it or something like that. But I've seen the erosion of Sydney's culture over the past 20 years, and it's been utterly heartbreaking to witness, because I was lucky enough to be born in a time where I was able to experience that, and I was able to play in those arenas. I was able to kind of do creative things within those spaces, and it was incredible blessing to be able to do that. Now I watch how the lockout laws in the mid-2010s came in after the tragic killing of a man in King's Cross. But I also watched the decimation of Sydney's nighttime culture just completely unfold in front of our eyes. Now there's a hydra of different problems around that. So many different facets to look at, and I'm not going to do all that in this video. But we can unanimously agree that Sydney's nightlife is a laughingstock in the global community. When Spanish backpackers come to Sydney, You know what they call it? La Sepultura, which means the crypt. Sydney is now considered to be a wasteland of nighttime culture. It's almost a joke now. Now, I don't want to point any bubs, or I don't want to point fingers. All I want to do is address the reality, is that Sydney's nighttime culture is subpar. We can all agree on that. I don't think anyone is suggesting that it is where it needs to be. But what needs to happen is a range of different things, and we're not going to find it with one all-felled solution. We're not going to be able to build it with the stroke of a pen. It has to be built from the grassroots up again. We have to build it with passion and with dedication and with principles and with a spirit of artistry, a spirit of creativity, a spirit of being able to build a community of creatives again in Sydney, which is, we have done it before. So there's something in the ground, there's something in our culture that has allowed us to do this before. It's just that all these different elements have stacked on top of each other to create a suffocating environment. Now, we can call it whatever we want to. We could call it legislature against, the freedom of nighttime culture. The lockout laws haven't helped. 2 years of lockdowns didn't help. Like our psyche is encumbered by a resistance to go out now. So there are all of these different elements. Some could even say that the developmental nature of Sydney's infrastructure and of its choices in terms of its government, what businesses choose to invest in, has been geared towards a certain type of person in Sydney. And that's all good and well. But as a community and as a collective group of people that want to live not in an economy, but want to live in a community, live in a society, live somewhere where there is culture, there is things to be thrilled about, there are things to become ecstatic about that aren't related to football or sports. Sports is given such a huge priority in the state of New South Wales. And that's fine if you're a sports lover. But what if you're not? What if you're into culture? And I'm not talking about going to the opera. I'm talking about headbanging. I'm talking about being a person that's part of the arts, being a person who champions the arts and wants to see the arts thrive and the creativities thrive, that get a sensory thrill that is the same thing as sport in terms of what it does to our brains. Maybe it's slightly different, but there's a certain reason why we go to concerts, And I think there is a fundamental misunderstanding on a government level, on an institutional level, that doesn't quite get it. I think in other states, they get it better. I won't name any names, but you can put two and two together, what I'm trying to say here. Those governments actually have a real vested interest in grassroots community culture. Sydney has kind of not just dropped the ball on certain things. And again, I don't want this to be a series of pointing fingers. It's addressings of reality. So, coming back to Infinite Dreams, what is the reason for Infinite Dreams? Why does Dreams need to exist? And what are we doing here? All right, so essentially, like in the name, Infinite Dreams is a collective, futurist-ish cultural community. Now, I'm going to have to refine that definition. It's not where it needs to be. I believe in getting the word out before you refine it down. Some marketers might say that's not the best way to do it. At the moment, Infinite Dreams is me. Right, so it comes down to what I put out there, and this is a fast way for me to get information out about what it is, and people can watch this. I know it's a long video, but I don't care. I want to get something out and make it immediate rather than having to put resources into, refining it. We'll refine it later when we've got more resources. But right now, this is a way that I can actually explain what we're doing. So, what I'm seeking Infinite Dreams to be is a is a futurist culture collective, and it is made for the champion of fringe culture in Sydney. To start with, we're seeking to take a wide range of elements of culture and bring them all together in a showcase platform. So in a sense, for what Keep Sydney Open is for venues, I want Infinite Dreams to be the same for performing artists and creatives. So I think that we need to invest in the creative performers themselves. A lot of our investment is given to institutions that have a tightly curated approach to what gets shown in Sydney. So you have these institutions that do great work in the community, but they are incredibly difficult to become part of. You have to tick all of their boxes that they want you to tick. And if you don't, then you're not given a look in. And so you find that in Sydney we have a semi-healthy range of different festivals and things that can be done. But in my opinion, it needs to be far greater. I mean, the volume needs to be much bigger. And also the approach to how performing artists and creatives are selected needs to be much more open. We need to take more risks. I think one of the issues with Sydney's approach to institutionalised culture is that it is so rigid in its approach. And what I'm seeking Infinite Dreams to be is something that's far more open. I want to take risks. I want certain things to suck. I want there to be a risk when you're going to, an Infinite Dreams event. We'll always have an establishment of quality. There will always be a production layer of quality. There will be a certain curatorial level of quality. So it needs to sit in a framework. But the actual framework itself can be much more open to risk and open to exploration. So always within a framework. But also with a much more open and fluid approach to the curation of content and who's selecting it. And I want it to be diverse. I want there to be a whole range of different opportunities for creatives, because I think that there is this huge body of creatives that operate in Sydney that don't know how to book their own gigs, that aren't good with social media, that aren't good at promoting themselves or doing that kind of work, which is now sort of expected of artists. We expect our artists to be these all-in-one entities of media and promotion. And a lot of artists are sensitive people, and they really struggle with this element. So what I want Infinite Dreams to do is to help be a platform to be able to help and assist artists who might be struggling with that element, and get them performing, getting them doing the things that they do best, and also getting them paid. There is this massive resistance against paying musicians, paying creatives to do what they do. And I don't understand why. And I think one of the things that we need to do is to remove the commerciality of the act of championing artists. I think that Infinite Dreams should exist in a hybrid model where we have free and ticketed events. I think that the free element of Infinite Dreams needs to be one of the largest things about it. I think that if you're a poor uni student, you're struggling to find $10 to go and buy a hamburger. You're not really... there's a resistance point if there is a cost attached to a cultural event. So what I want to do is remove that barrier, remove that resistance point, so that people can come and see something good quality. They're going to be entertained, they're going to feel culturally enriched, which improves mental health. That's the other thing too that I want to impress here. When you go and see a good band, when you go and see a cultural show, when you go and see a film, when you go and see something that inspires you, lo and behold, your mental health improves. Now, we have a mental health crisis in the world, but in Sydney as well. I mean, when you look at the impact that poor mental health has on everything, on every facet, it's an epidemic almost. So we need to have a solution, and I want to bridge the kind of information gap between mental health and well-being and culture. I don't think anyone would resist the idea that if you are culturally enriched, it will improve your mental health. Now, I don't know where the needle is moved yet, and we need to move that needle and show how that needle gets moved. But my sneaking suspicion, and I don't think I would have any resistance there, is that an increase in cultural richness in a society improves mental health. And I want to be, I want Infinite Dreams to be a platform to be able to do that. I want culture to be as important as sport is in Sydney. I think we have a massive skew towards what the government invests in terms of sporting stuff. I mean, they're putting billions of dollars into new stadiums, which is a commercial venture, which I understand is a commercial venture, and there are improvements to that. But what I'm saying here is that where is the equivalent level for culture? And we need to ask the question: why is sport given such a much more skewed, priority than culture? I want to eventually run the numbers. I'm not going to run the numbers off the top of my head here because I don't know them, but I know that we'll be able to get numbers. I have seen that in New South Wales, the cultural industries bring in tens of billions of dollars into the economy. So if it's about the economy, why aren't we boosting this? And I think the fundamental thing that we are getting wrong is that we don't understand culture. The people who are in charge of the cultural apparatus don't quite get it. If you look at the personal habits of each individual in positions of power that are actually moving the cultural lever, I'd like to drill down on that. What do they actually see? Are they artists themselves? We need to have in positions, at least on a nominal level, people who are in control of the curatorial levers with a level of artistry themselves. Why do we allow people who are in charge of our institutions to not have the expertise in the deep personal knowledge of being a creative? So essentially, the Infinite Dreams I'm proposing is one part of the jigsaw puzzle. What I'm seeking to do with Infinite Dreams in its initial phases is to champion and platform creatives in all disciplines with a semi-futurist bent. So we're a futurist organisation, a culturally futurist organisation. We're seeking to, I guess, enact ideas of technology, of futurism, of technology. We want to showcase innovation. We want to champion and platform innovations in performance art, in culture, in visual design, in gaming, in all these kinds of endeavours. But it's not to suggest that everything that we do has to, be techno. We want there to be a folk element to what we do. We want there to be a grassroots element, a punk element. We want our organisation to be futurist in philosophy, but in execution to sort of service the broadest possible spectrum of creativities. Now, when I say broad, I mean in terms of width of the things that we put on, not to suggest that everything we do will be for everybody, but to create a wide spectrum where anyone who's interested in certain things can find something that they can dig as part of Infinite Dreams. At the moment, what we're seeking to do, and what I did for the first show last week, was a showcase of a specific genre type. So we focused on electronic body music, on dark wave, synth wave, glitchy effects, kind of techno-industrial sort of feel to it. But there's no reason to suggest that the next one will be a showcase of 80s hair metal revival, where we have different bands that are doing kind of 80s thrash metal. And then the week after, we might have Wolfpackian proto-funk, and showcase different groups of those genres. So the idea is that Infinite Dreams is liberating itself from this sort of thing that happens in Sydney, where you've got all these different crews. It's micro-specifying one genre. And they put on their own parties, but they're all these sort of enclave-y bubbles. And it's very hard to sort of to actually create an all-encompassing community out of that. So what I'm seeking Infinite Dreams to do is to be like the fluid in the cracks of all these different crews. So different crews can come together, and we can, or different artists can perform as part of Infinite Dreams. What I'm seeking to do is to be artist first. So the organisation, I don't care about, I guess, for-profit initiatives. Like Infinite Dreams, at its root, is a community organisation. Certainly, we need to generate revenue to operate, but I don't want it to be a for-profit initiative. I think that the closest we'll get to it is profit for purpose, which is essentially we would like to make money, but the money will go back into the organisation. So it seeks to exist to first and foremost champion artists and performers, but seeks to be self-sustaining enough so that we can do great things. That is all I care about. I'm not doing this to make any money for myself personally. We need to work out an operational budget so that we can actually, operate the institution or the organisation effectively and with good governance and with good protocols in place, with good initiatives in terms of our diversity and our approach to community. But it's not a commercial enterprise. I would like to get to the point where our free programs are the most popular part of what we do. But part of what we need to do is to work out how to generate revenue to be able to put on shows, to be able to pay for venues, to be able to pay for the professionals that will run a professional quality event, to pay for the artists so that they are getting paid for their work. Now, how do we do that? I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I'm still green. I don't want to sit here on camera and say, oh, this is exactly how it's going to work. I don't know yet. It's just me at the moment. I have to work out how to do this properly. I have had enough experience in business and in organising production, in terms of working out how to do things properly, to have a good idea of how to run something properly. The most important element for me is doing it right. I want to start small. I'm starting on a very, very small scale. I'm starting with a venue like Highway Enmore, where all of my overheads are taken care of. I don't need to worry about them. Highway Enmore are a fantastic business that allow performers to put on their own nights with zero overheads. There's no other stuff that we need to think of. So that's why I've chosen Highway as our first venue. And I think Highway will be an integral element to Infinite Dreams across its entire tenure. But I want to start it small and then bring in expertise that can expand. And I want to bring in the right people. I want to have a very considered and well thought out approach to how we're building an organisation of this nature. And I don't want to go too far too soon. I think that it's important. I've learnt this anyway in business, to build something. I've learnt this from certain mentors that I've worked with. You start with a skateboard, then you move to a bicycle, then you might move to a car, then you move to a truck, then you move to a semi-trailer. But you've got to start with that skateboard. And right now, the last event we did last week was our skateboard. We started very small, and it was successful. We managed to pack the room out. We managed to get all the artists paid, which is a success, a small success. Now for the next one, probably on the same scale. For the next one after that, probably on the same scale. With the next one after that, we're going to expand a little bit more, but only when we feel that we can do so comfortably. I'm in no massive rush to do this. Time is of the essence, and I think like one of the things too about infinite dreams is philosophically, I'll insert this point, which is sort of I've wanted to sort of address. I'm sorry to go a little bit personal and kind of philosophical on you here, but one of the things that I've realized recently around the philosophy of infinite dreams is that dreams are infinite. As long as there's human beings around, our dreams will always be infinite. We will always have creative ideas. We'll always have people who are seeking to do creative things and to operate in a way that enriches humanity through the products of their brain, through their dreams, through their inspirations. On the flip side, our own individual time is finite. We only have a certain amount of time alive. I know we pulled off Infinite Dream 001. I don't know personally how many I'll see in my lifetime. I might see 10, 20, next 3, next 100. I don't know. I know that my time is finite. And every opportunity that we do to build an Infinite Dreams experience is a rejoicement in culture, in creativity, in artistry, in the enrichment of the human condition, futurism, in creative philosophy. Each time we do one is a blessing. It's a reason for rejoicing, and we can collect these experiences over time. I hope to do as many as I can while I'm still alive, while I'm still able to act as the founder of Infinite Dreams. Some might view that as quite fatalistic or more mortalistic, but I view it as realistic. I know as a creative, my mind never stops. I'm always creating stuff, but I know that time is finite. I know that ability to create is limited and precious. So this is why, when we're talking about the importance of creativity, sports fans remember the great games, and creatives remember the great shows that they've experienced. But the reality of our city is that we skew sporting moments as far more important than cultural moments, and there's so many reasons for that. But what Infinite Dreams seeks to do is to be the resistance point against that. To go, look, culture is super important. It is a vital part of our society. I want us to stop talking about living in an economy, which is economy. If people are happy, if people are culturally fulfilled, if people are enriched, they are going to contribute more. They are going to want to do more because there's more to live for. Creativities give us purpose. They give us a reason for existing, right? They help us existentially. They give us life force. It's this stuff. If you're worried about the economy, if your population, if your society is depressed all the time because all they have to live for is paying off their mortgage, you're going to have a miserable society. You might have a thriving economy, but a miserable society. The question I ask is, what would you rather live in? I mean, the answer to that probably is a healthy mix of both. But right now, it seems that the institutions that operate are so focused on economy, that they're sort of missing out. The whole point of government is to make sure that we live in a prosperous society. Infinite Dreams seeks to do that one thing at a time. We seek to change the attitude towards how we live. We should be encouraging more experiences that give us an enrichment of the human condition. We need to be investing in that. We need to be investing in our own happiness, in our own enrichment, because it's important. The other thing too, we are losing our artists to overseas. I have two friends of mine, Daisy and Colin, Bura Bura and Black Dahlia. They're two phenomenal artists, incredible, and they're moving to Germany because a range of reasons, but they are, the opportunities are there in Germany, in Berlin. If you're a techno person, if you're a person that's interested in electronic music, right? Dude like Party Boy 69, he has made it huge in the overseas market. He's gone overseas. He came back and headlined his own show at Roundhouse in Sydney. It's like, so our artists are leaving because our opportunities are stifled here. You can't, you can't. It would be difficult to count on two hands the handful of venues that we have that artists can perform at. We've killed our nightlife economy. We've killed our institutions. We've killed our cultural hubs. We need to rebuild them. It's as simple as that. And Infinite Dreams is seeking to do that. Because we shouldn't have to lose our creatives. We shouldn't have our creatives feel the need that they need to go elsewhere. Or even to go to other states. The amount of creatives that I know that have gone to Melbourne because there's more opportunities in Melbourne for creativities. They care about their creatives. Not to say that Sydney doesn't care about its creatives, but it needs to do a lot better. We can all agree on that. Sydney needs to do a lot better. And I know that the people that are in charge of the institutions are trying their best. But I think one of the issues that we have is that the grassroots needs to step up more, and we need to actually own our city, and I guess relinquish the need to rely on our institutions to build it. Now, look, Infinite Dreams will become an organisation or institution in itself, but I think part of the philosophy and the approach to how we do it is super important to get right. And that's why I'm taking it carefully, doing it slowly, doing it bit by bit, to get it right. I want it to be done right. I want it to not overextend itself. I don't want it to get too crazy, too soon. And each time we build a different level, we make sure we have the institutional or the organisational apparatus and the expertise and the thought leaders and the people with proven track results that can scale something to a larger element. And we bring these people in over time as we start to build. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up now. For people who want to get involved, just approach me personally. At the moment, I am Infinite Dreams. That it's just me. And I need assistance, I need help. I don't want to ever refer to ourselves as a startup, because we're not. We're a cultural organisation that exists irrespective of revenue or investment or anything like that. I just want it to be done right. I want it to be done for the purposes of bettering Sydney's cultural fabric. I want to do it to support artistry, to support artists, to make artists feel welcomed in their own city. I want to alleviate the stress of having to book your own venue, having to book your own shows and do your own social media, and allow artists to focus on being artists. That's the most important thing for Infinite Dreams. And I want there to be a wide and diverse spectrum of different nights, different things to do, different things to come out to, and cross-pollinating different genres. So to get people out of these sort of silos where they're sort of becomes cliquey, and there's a lack of fluidity when it's just inside enclaves of culture. So I encourage anyone to first of all come to an event, an Infinite Dreams event. We are going to have ticket sales, which I try and keep low. to pay for the artists. If you are ever in desperate financial circumstances and you can't afford to come, approach me directly and we can work out something. I want people to feel like that they can come to something, but if I know a lot of people, especially students, are massively hard up for money, but I don't want that to be a resistance point to come and experience culture. If anyone wants to volunteer their expertise or services, I'm open to any form of suggestion or skill set or anything that you want to do to help. That would be fantastic. Eventually, I'd like anyone who works in a professional capacity for Infinite Dreams to get paid. But at the moment, we're going to have to rely on volunteer efforts to kind of get things going. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it goes when you're starting to build something from the ground up and there's not any money there. Eventually, I'd like to get budgets to be able to do a certain amount of events each year. To have a yearly budget, to be able to pay the professionals to do their jobs, to pay the artists to do what they do best, and do it right, do it properly. And I will be the champion for those artists and for those professionals to make sure that everything's done above board and everything's done properly. But I'll be, approaching different institutions in the following months. I will start to sort of, as we do more and more successful events, I will start to sort of seek out levels of development of revenue and development of a budget. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Our next steps, we're going to have Infinite Dream 002. I'd like to focus on the weird and fringe sort of quirkier kind of end of town for this one. I have a few acts in mind. I won't name them just yet, but that will be a focus for us. I want also Sydney to become reacquainted with its own weirdness. I think that there is a certain attitude that Sydney is boring. It's not. There are so many strange and unusual artists and incredible performers and people that are doing so many amazing things that just don't get any platforms because the way that our sort of cultural institutions are structured is that it's very risk averse. We have a very specific approach to cultural curation, which is what it is. I know that's such a cliche, but I don't want it to be like that. I want to change it into another form. And that is well within my right as a creative and a member of the community and a person who wants to change the fabric of our community. I believe in being proactive versus whinging about shit. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it because I don't want to be a whinger. I don't want to go, oh, this sucks. I don't want to be that. I want to be right. I don't think it's good enough. I want to make it better. And that's 100% what I'm seeking to do. I just want to make Sydney better. I don't want to have to go to Germany to do my art. I don't want to have to leave my hometown with all my beautiful friends and family and people who I love. I don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to do what I do as an artist here in my own town and do it well and do it where people feel that they have a great time, and the shows that I've done in the past couple of years have attested to that, and I really want to just continue doing that. I don't want to have to go overseas to do what I do, and I shouldn't have to, and we shouldn't have to. We should not have to feel the need to go elsewhere to do it. We need to support our creatives, support our cultural community. We need to develop and build a robust framework that allows our creatives to thrive in their own city. And I think that Infinite Dreams has the potential to do that enormously. I want to do it right, do it properly. I know I'm repeating myself, but I think it's important to reiterate my own personal approach to it. Anyway, so if you've managed to get to the end of here, thank you for watching. This is just basically so I can get everything down. And I think people who are interested in Sydney's culture will take the time to listen to this. So if you have, I appreciate your interest. And if you want to get involved, infinitedreams.live is the best place to come to. You can contact me directly there, or you can contact me on my various other channels, the Vidiot, which is the Vidiot.tv on Instagram, or the Vidiot vidiot.tv as its website. Get in touch with me there, or just leave a comment below. And I'm really excited. The other night was such an important kind of thing for my psyche. I was coming off the back of a sickness. I was depressed. I was kind of couldn't get out of bed, and I had this level of neuroticism about kind of doing the very first show. I was extremely anxious, but we did it, and it was amazing, and it was like a shot of adrenaline, and it made me go, this is why I'm sitting out the front of my front yard doing this video, because it made me go, right, there's a thirst, there is a hunger for culture in Sydney. And Infinite Dreams, our very first one, the feedback from people was just phenomenal. I just had all these people coming up to me just going, we get it, we know what you're doing, this is awesome, you know. I want to do this every day. I want to use every day that I have alive to actually feed and develop this, because I care about my community, my friends, my artistic brethren. You know, I give a fuck about it, and I want every waking moment of my life now to be dedicated to doing this. I want to build it, to create something awesome, and that's my personal goal there. So thank you for watching, and I'll give you some updates soon when we've got the next one coming out, and I'm looking forward to having everyone on this journey.